Hi there everyone. Today I'm going to do the controversy surrounding the new Endgame book by Scobie, and just to explore whether the accusations about Charles and Kate Middleton could hold some truth. Now Scobie's saying that he didn't point any fingers, but it's come out in the media that Charles and Kate are the racist parties. So we'll just explore that. So let's do them maybe as one component. So it shows here, they're very protective of the family, Kate and William, and that they will be pursuing a legal avenue in respect of what was said in the book. And this will happen quite quickly, and I feel that's already been said in the media. They're very protective of the children, the legacy, the children, and their inheritance. So I feel that's why they choose to take on board a legal option. So what it's saying is that, they're putting on a front, or they're putting on a face for the world, which is very justified and upright in its virtue. The appearance is very virtuous. But they're worried, particularly Kate. Kate's very worried about this situation. But she's also very strong in her approach. I feel like her experiences have made her stronger. And even though deep down she's very concerned, she tends to bury it. She tends to bury that worry. And she finds a way to soothe those concerns. She feels that this book is very sneaky. It's a very sneaky type of endeavour that would just bring the author money, popularity, fame. But in actual fact, he's a more caring person than the contents of the book would kind of paint him as, because I guess if you're going to write, I haven't read the book, but if you're going to write something against the royal family or about the royal family, it doesn't have to be against them, just has to be a critique about them, then there's an assumption there that you're a nasty person. And I don't think he's really all that nasty. I feel that he cares about the royal family, but he has a critical perspective on different aspects of it. And also, there must be something in that book which is true, because it says that that particularly Kate feels that this person has found out information on the sneak, and that it happens to be correct. I feel there's also like an opinion of the Queen's about this person, and that's what Charles and Kate Middleton think about, that she really put a thumb on whatever he said and tried to find ways to protect the royal family from discovering more information, because he must have had spies, or he had people that he could talk to, and the Queen particularly went around those avenues using her personnel and shut them down. That's what I get here, and that's what Charles and Kate Middleton are thinking of doing. Because they're reflecting off what she did when she was alive, what Queen Elizabeth did when she was alive, and she kind of suppressed those sneaks. So I feel that they're both of them are riding off the Queen's opinion of this OB person, and following her lead on it, or her advice on it, what her former advice was, and moving forward with that strength in mind, with that strength of opinion in mind about these types of attacks, or what they perceive to be attacks. Now, Obi's saying he's not attacking them. It's a misprint, and there's an investigation ongoing about that. But I feel like where there's smoke, there's fire. With this, it shows strength here. It shows resolve, and it shows that they're not going to put up, the royal family are not going to put up with anything said by this person. However, I don't feel he's a bad figure in all this. I feel like the rumours had strength and truth to them, but because their experiences are very strong in the world, they travel a lot, they meet a lot of people, I feel like the opinion of this person is downgraded. It's like they leave it with their lawyers. They don't concern themselves on what's being said. But it does cause some type of concern with Kate, because she's not sleeping or anything as well as she would. She's not totally distraught by what's being said, but I feel like it still gets to her in some capacity. So let's just look at the crux of these rumours. Is Charles racist? Like the book says, is Charles racist? I feel that he has an opinion, which he got from his mother, particularly about coloured folk, like particularly about people with dark skin in particular. And I guess they travelled to Africa a lot, so it would have something to do with their travels to that continent. And there's an affection there for the people, but there's also a caution. It's like they don't actually trust coloured people, and I feel it has something to do with poverty and desperation and conflict. It's like they're not so threatened by the skin colour as they are by their situation in life. So there is a mistrust there, but I wouldn't exactly call it being racist. It's a mistrust. And in terms of what's happening, I feel that Charles also has the opinion that maybe Kate's a little bit discriminate. Not racist, but discriminate. Because that's what he thinks about. He doesn't think about himself in relation to these allegations. He thinks about Kate and how those allegations would affect her. But he feels she's in a strong enough and solid enough position to just turn away from those rumours. Because he thinks about the children again, or the grandchildren, and how Kate's opinions would affect them and their outlook. But he doesn't want to get too involved. So I feel that I've always felt that Charles is quite a compassionate person. Actually very compassionate, but just being affected by experience. But also Charles feels that Kate has been brought up in like a discriminate family environment. It's like something she's experienced when she was young. And I feel like it's not the father in the family, I feel it's mother. You know, the mother might show some type of discrimination towards coloured people, and she's kind of adopted that opinion, but she's between a rock and a hard place because she's in a tight spot, I feel. It's like she's developed out of those opinions or become more open-minded, but she still holds that type of discrimination in a sense. Like, there's an intolerance that she shows, a type of intolerance that comes out now and again, and it's no secret to Charles, and it's obviously no secret to William either, because he's with her all the time, and maybe that's an opinion that's something that's passed on from William to Charles, where because that he wouldn't always be in the same space as them. But yeah, there's definitely, like, it's not very severe. It's not like you definitely couldn't call Charles racist, but he's definitely cautious of disadvantaged black people, particularly people from Africa. And I guess because, you know, there's potential for violence and attacks and that sort of thing. But also, you know, if you were going to look at it from looking at the cards, but also if you're going to take a broader view of things from what you see on television or from what you see in the media, it's a very specific discrimination, and it applies to maybe the poorer, drier areas of Africa where they hold some kind of caution towards the people. But with Kate, it's like a family thing from the mother, where the mother doesn't trust black people at all, and she's kind of picked up on that. And sometimes it comes out in different ways with what she says. I feel she like swears or something about coloured people occasionally, and it must be again, but it's specific. It's like she's grown or matured out of those opinions, but it's still an opinion that she holds from a family dynamic. It's like it's definitely, you know, a parentage type of opinion. It's something she's acquired from her parents. It's not something within the family dynamic. It's not an opinion that she has developed from traveling the world. It seems to me that she's evolved out of those opinions from traveling the world and from experiencing different cultures. But definitely Charles is more concerned with her and the children because it provokes his thought on it. It provokes his thought on Kate's opinion of coloured people. So he's more compassionate. He's still very cautious in a sense, but more compassionate, more sympathetic, and definitely doesn't hold the same opinion as Kate. So she definitely has a distrust. That's not a falsehood. But the thing about Charles, it's kind of a falsehood because he's not exactly racist. He's more open-minded than that, more compassionate. But he's very wary. He's very wary of particular groups in Africa. I might try a different deck. So how true is Endgame? How true is Endgame overall? So it says here it has truth in the book and it has falsities in the book. You know, I really feel like the truth in the book was about, and I haven't read the book, but the truth about the book, from what the cards are saying, is that it is essentially an end game. And, you know, there's a cost to it. There's, 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 there are things within the royal family that aren't kosher. And those things that aren't too great within the dynamics of the royal family are treated as a bit of a game, a bit of a gamble. And it also talks about controversy here, particularly around relationships. So it's saying here that there's some truth to that. But they'll never be friends, this Obi and the royal family will never be friends, because the royal family doesn't like to be written about, whether it's good or it's bad or it's indifferent. So there is truth in the book. Particularly, it's also saying here about the Queen and how the end game was set up by the Queen, or the elements of that end game was set up by the Queen. Now I'm using that term because that's the title of the book. So how that ties into the reading, you'd have to get a broader perspective by reading the book. But it says that this game, to achieve what they want to achieve, was set up by the Queen. But she's missing. So she's a missing element from that game. And it will cause disrest within the dynamics of the royal family because she's not there to control the elements. That's what it says. So let's see, will William and Kate's marriage survive the rumours? It's definitely going to cause some distress within the marriage. I know they're putting on a front and they seem okay, but it's like as the controversy deepens, and it seems to me like it's a flash in the pan. It doesn't seem to me like it's going anywhere. You know, they'll report this and that this week, but then everything fades away in time, doesn't it? But with this rumour, it's sustaining within the family dynamic, and it does cause difficulties, and there's a chance it could lead to a separation between them. There is that chance, and I feel it has something to do with potentially the truth of the allegation, even though all the parties, well, the party, the publishers and the author is saying it was not intended that those names came out, and Piers Morgan has announced who the two people were based on the Dutch version of Endgame. So it says to me here that they're trying to put up a solid front, and William's very focused. He's very, very focused on keeping the community, the family community together, keeping the community together by keeping the family solid. But that the difficulties that are raised by this allegation seep into their perfect world, and it does cause disruption. It's like at first they tried to take a positive perspective, particularly William. He tries not to let it get at him. But there's something about Kate's opinion which is very harsh. And I feel that what's happening, the allegations, it's not so much the allegations in this book, which seem to carry some truth. It's the impact it has. It's like you can maintain a type of dignity within your family dynamic, even if you feel like your partner's discriminatory, or your partner has an opinion which isn't nice, or your partner's has very bad language at home, which Kate seems to have. She swears a lot. But it's another thing where you're confronted with it, where somebody's saying to you, the world is saying to you through a published article that your wife's a racist. It's confronting, and I feel that it does become confronting, because it's like he has to wake up to the reality of his own situation. It's not that she's discriminatory, or she swears a lot, or she has this character which can be perceived as being discriminate or racist. It's that at some point you stop finding you feel that something's wrong, and you stop finding excuses for this person. And what the revelation has done has brought into the relationship a type of reality that he didn't expect. Like it's a type of wake-up call to him. It's like Charles understood that, William understood that. William would be saying to Charles that she's this way and she's that way. But it's like being confronted with it. They haven't said she's discriminate, they've said she's a racist. And it's like William then has to say to himself, well, that's not true, or that is true, or, and then he gets more perspective. Then, he might even read an excerpt of the book, or he might just look at the headline, or he may not. But it's saying here that he does something, because it brings distress into the relationship, and it could be the trigger that leads to their separation. At the moment, he's trying to shine a light on the whole thing, even on Kate, to keep his community and his family together, keep a united front and keep everything solid. But it says that ultimately he will have to he has to confront the harsh truth about Kate, and it could lead to a separation between them. So there's something about her personality within the home environment which isn't as friendly as we perceive her to be, because I feel like we all perceive Kate to be a friendly person. She smiles all the time. She seems to talk to everybody in the public, and she dresses nicely, and she always looks nice. There's a presentation there. There's a perception that we take from looking at Kate that it convinces us that she is what the media says she is, a prim and proper lady. But what it's saying to here is that she's not a prim and proper lady within the dynamics, behind closed walls. And this allegation will provoke something between them which could cause fights. I feel it's a wake-up call. You know, I feel it's a stab in the dark. It's like he was willing to sit in the dark about her bad side, her bad traits, for the sake of the family and for the sake of the community and the perception the community has of them. But then it's like being prodded out of the dark and into the light, and admitting to yourself that is the way things are, and starting to dislike Kate on the basis that they found out a hidden truth about her. You know, it was okay if it was hidden from the world, but it's not okay if it comes out in a published article. Even though he knows he has to try to keep it together. So it's a fine balance. I feel it's a fine balance, but that balance is going to disrupt. Okay, so that was the reading on Endgame. I'll see you next time.